Hello YouTubers and fellow Whovians, and once again, welcome to another Doctor Who action figure review. Today I shall be taking a look at the brand new B&M exclusive 1970s collector set, which features 3 figures from the 1970s. It's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? So, first off, let's take a look at the packaging. Once again, the packaging retains that same style guide which has been used on the 5.5 collector series since it was rebranded back in 2015, and as I've said before, this is probably the last time that we'll see this, seeing as we're getting a new logo and it's the start of a new era with the 13th Doctor. Once again, it's a very simple package. You've got the 3 figures inside, and the back of the box just basically has 3 pictures of the figures, and it tells you what characters these are. So without further ado, let's take a look at the figures that come in this set, starting off with the new 4th Doctor. Now the 4th Doctor here is based on his appearance in the amazing story, The Talons of Weng-Chiang. It's an absolutely brilliant story. I absolutely recommend that you check that out. Now this figure is actually a retooling, because that's what all these figures are. They're all retools and repaints of previous releases that have come out over the years. And this basically is a 4th Doctor head planted on a 3rd Doctor body with all the necessary repaints to match what he looks like in the Talons of Weng-Chiang. Obviously it's a shame that it didn't come with his Deerstalker hat, but that would have required a new sculpt, and obviously that would have cost a little bit more money. But hey ho, you can't win with everything. At least we have another variant of the 4th Doctor, and quite honestly, I really like it. I think that the detail once again on the face of the 4th Doctor really captures the likeness of Tom Baker. His hair, as always, looks all curly. They're giving him a little bit of a brown wash on this figure though this time. Once again, his eyes have been painted blue. A lot of these figures that have come out in these recent releases, they're just painted like in black really, and they sort of look, well, I wouldn't say expressionless, but they're less detailed. But here they've actually painted his eyes blue. It's the exact same head sculpt as what we have seen ever since the first release of a 4th Doctor from Character Options in 2008. Looking at the body, it is, as I said, a 3rd Doctor body, but it works very well for this release. Quite honestly, I think it was a very smart decision that was made by Character Options. I mean, obviously it has the frills there. It's not going to be entirely accurate to what he actually wore for the majority of this story, but I think this is the best that we're going to get in terms of the Talons of the Weng-Chiang 4th Doctor, because this is a figure which I have wanted for a very long time. I've seen prototype images of this like floating about for a few years now, so to finally have this is actually very good. I mean, obviously we don't have the Deerstalker, but still it is very good, and I'm very pleased with it. He's wearing a red jacket, which again, it's just basically a 3rd Doctor jacket, and underneath here, I'm not sure if this is a new sculpt, it probably might not be, but he's wearing a tie underneath there, he's wearing a shirt, and he's wearing a new cardigan, it seems, underneath there. And I think it's very nicely detailed. There's not much to it. You've got the sculpting of the button there, and it's painted in like a, I want to say like a grey colour, or more or less. But the thing I really love about this figure is the fact that he's got his cloak on here, and again it is basically a 3rd Doctor cloak just put on him. You can remove the cloak. I've tried this and it is removable. It is very easy to remove, not as easy to put on, but then again it's never been very easy to put on with these previous releases of the 3rd Doctor. And at the back you can see it's very nicely detailed. you got the hole at the bottom there, and yeah, you've just got the painting of what is the stitches. So you've got a blend of white, red, and black checkered patterns, I'd say, and you've got a little bit of it blue going around, and you've got all the creases as well, and you've got the buttons on each side, and at the edges here, all the way around, you can see it's been painted blue. So I think that they have really tried with doing this. They have really put some effort into the making of this figure. Also, they've painted his hands to make it look like he's wearing gloves, because in this story, of course, the Fourth Doctor also wears gloves, and they've been painted in a sort of weird, I want to say blue, but it kind of looks a little bit purple in real life, but on camera it looks blue. Unfortunately though, like many of the figures that come in these sets, and this is the same for the Missy figure, which has been released in 12th Doctor sets, you can still see the fingernails, and on this you can see the ring, which actually is from 3rd Doctor hand. So it really is the body of the 3rd Doctor with the 4th Doctor's head on it. That's a little bit unfortunate, but I don't know, it probably might have cost a little bit more money, I guess. That's just my guess. Finally, the bottom, again, it is 3rd Doctor legs. You've got basically grey trousers with grey boots, and the bottom of the boots are just painted black, and you can see that the boots just by looking at the very closely. So they've painted the bottom black to give the illusion that they are actually shoes, when the sculpt actually isn't. But hey ho. Overall though, I think it's very good that they've done this. I'm not going to complain too much, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, it is another variant of the 4th Doctor, and one which I thought at one stage we would never see, but here we are, we've got it. Going on the articulation, the head can move a little bit, not so much. The arms, they can do a 360-degree turn when you don't have the cloak on, and there is articulation at the biceps and at the elbows. They can move up and down, and the wrists, they can do a 360-degree turn. There is articulation at the waist that can do a 360-degree turn, but again, at the minute is hindered by the cloak, but once the cloak is removed, you can do so. And you can do the splits, and the legs can go up and down. The knees can bend back and forth. Again though, a little bit hindered by the cloak he's gone on. But overall, articulation wise, it's pretty much very standard articulation. Overall though, I really like this figure, despite some little inaccuracies here and there, but I'm not going to complain too much. This goes very well with my Magnus Greel and Mr. Sin on the shelf. Next up is the brand new Brigadier figure, which is basically a Brigadier head on a Captain Jack Harkness body. So yes, this body is a reuse of the sculpt which was used on the very first Captain Jack Harkness figure that we got, which was from Series 1, The Empty Child, and quite honestly, I think it really works for this figure. I believe a lot of people used that body back in the day to customise Brigadiers before we actually did get a Brigadier released a few years ago. So what character have done is actually, they've done what a lot of customizers have done in the past, and I must say it works very well for this figure. I think that the head sculpt on this is absolutely gorgeous. I think that it really does look like Nicholas Courtney, and it's a little bit of a shame really that I never really got to see any of his figures get released, because this is the 4th time that we've got a Brigadier figure, and quite honestly the detail is superb. Not sure if it's the best ever likeness to a Brigadier that we've got, due to the paint applications, because his eyes, like, he looks like really mortified, like he's just seen a bomb go off. I mean, that's the sort of thing that the Brigadier probably had to deal with on quite a daily basis, so that goes without saying. But the beret at the top, there's not as much detail in the badge there. Usually you've got like a little logo of a unit going on there. The beret is nicely detailed though. Got a little bit of creases here and there. And overall though, it's a very good head sculpt, albeit let down very slightly by the paint applications. But I must say, in real life, it looks much better than how it does on the camera right now. That the lighting is not doing it much justice, to be honest with you. Now the body, as I said, it is a Captain Jack body. You've got the two buckets on each side. He's got his little necktie here, and he's got all these badges that have just simply been painted on for this figure. So there you can see that he's quite a high-ranking officer, and you can see that you've got more of this on the shoulders as well. And he has got his lanyard here, which has been painted red, and that just goes all the way round his right arm. And he's got his belt here, and yeah, everything's been painted over though. So the buckle here, it's not been painted in a different colour, it's just all basically this same creamy colour that's going on. And the trousers, again, that continues, and the feet, or his shoes I should say, have just been painted in this nice brown colour. So overall, it is a very solid release, and I'm really glad to see the Brigadier get another release. It's a nice other variant to have, because this is what I believe to be like one of the earlier appearances of the Brigadier that we've got, because a lot of the other Brigadiers that we've got in figure form, he's wearing his green uniforms, whereas this he's wearing his cream one, which we've never had. So it's kind of a new variant for the Brigadier, I guess, which is very good. And for a lot of people, this will probably be the first time that anyone's got a Brigadier action figure, seeing as all the other ones have been released in exclusive sets sold by Underground Toys and Forbidden Planet. Once again, going on the articulation, the head, it can hardly move. It can just move side to side. Yeah, the head's not bad. The arms can do a 360. They're not ball jointed like the other Brigadier figures. The elbows can move up and down. No bicep articulation. The wrists can also do a 360-degree turn. The waist can do a 360-degree turn. The legs can go out to the side, so we can do the splits, and they can also move up and down. And his knees can move back and forth as well. No articulation at the feet, but to be honest, I'm not really that fussed about no articulation at the feet. So overall, I really like this figure actually. This actually works very well on the shelf, and it goes very nicely with the other variants of the Brigadier that I have on the shelf. Finally, taking a look at the Auton figure, so straight away, these figures come hand in hand. These two figures work very well together. The only one that's the odd one out on this set, funnily enough, is the Tom Baker figure. Now, this is just a simple re-release of the Auton figure, which came in the Enemies of the Third Doctor set, which was released a few years back, but it has been repainted, so it's not exactly the same. The body of this figure is again a reuse of the Captain Jack Harkness body, which has been reused again on this Brigadier figure. And of course there is a couple of retools. I mean, on the pockets here you've got buttons that have been sculpted on, and obviously he's got his bigger necktie. And this is the same on the other Auton action figure. Overall, detail-wise, it is very nice. It's all painted in a grey colour. Again, some detail has been lost because, you know, the buckles haven't been painted or anything like that, or any of the buttons. It's just simply the whole body just been painted in the same colour. The hands are the same colour as the head, and thankfully the shoes have been painted silver again, which matches how they looked on screen. I'm very happy about that, because when I heard that they were releasing this, I was wondering, are they actually going to paint these silver again? Because I was quite worried that they might miss that out this time around. But thankfully they have, so that bit they have got right, and I'm really thankful that they have. Once again, looking at the detail of the face, I think that it is absolutely excellent. Of course, this does look emotionless, but it was all for the right reasons. The fact that the eyes look emotionless makes this figure even more better, I guess. Overall, the head sculpt goes very nicely. The hand is opened up and he's got his gun. It's pretty much the same as the previous release that came in the Enemies of the Third Doctor sets. This figure doesn't come with any accessories, and, well, none of the figures in these sets do. I guess that's due to a cost-cutting exercise. I'm not all that fussed, so yeah, this figure's probably going to be displayed like this anyway on the shelf. That is how I would display it anyway, so I'm not really too bothered that we don't have another hand to just pop on and off and then just have it closed like this hand. So yeah, it's not all that bad, in all honesty. Going by articulation, again, the head, like before, it can do a side-to-side turn. Doesn't do a 360. I wouldn't really want to be honest with you. The arms can do a 360 degree turn, not ball jointed. The elbows can move up and down. The wrists can do a 360 degree turn. The waist can do a 360, and the legs can move side to side, go up and down, and the knees can move back and forth as well. So yeah, articulation wise, very, very good. Very pleased with it. Now I'm going to give you a comparison of the previous release of the Auton from Spearhead from Space. So you can see that it is very much the same figure, and it's just a repaint, and quite honestly I quite like that this has happened. Obviously it's great to have another Auton on the shelf, and this is great for army building purposes. So I'm absolutely thrilled to have another Auton. Out of the two, which one do I prefer? I probably would say that I still prefer this one, due to this one having more colour and variety, and it has more detail with the buckles and the buttons and everything like that. But for the most part, this new figure is a very welcome release, and it's very nice to see a release of this figure along with the Brigadier have the first release in retail. So that is it for this review of the 1970s set. Overall, I am very pleased with this set, because all three of these figures are brand new variants. They're not just a simple re-release, which I'm really glad about. The Fourth Doctor is very different from all the other Fourth Doctor figures that we've ever got before, because he doesn't have a scarf, seeing as The Talons of Weng-Chiang was the only story in his entire television run where he didn't wear the scarf. And this is the first time that we've had a Brigadier from his early appearances being released in figure form, and we've got another Auton, which is always a great thing. I highly recommend that you get this set if you're a big fan of the 1970s era of Doctor Who, because I'm definitely a big fan of that era, so these figures were a must for me. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this action figure review. Stay tuned for more, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheerio!